is dead, and we have killed him. How shall we comfort ourselves, the murderer of all murderers? Friedrich Nietzsche, a world-renowned philosopher from the late 1800s, said this because he was a firm believer in evolution. Nietzsche realized the implications of evolution. With this naturalistic theory of origins, God was no longer necessary, nor were his morals. Morals were, in fact, relative. Well, I'm not saying that evolution is evil or that Nietzsche was even right. I'm saying that evolution is critical to our understanding of morals. You should reconsider evolution, and you should reconsider the evolutionary evidence. You should reconsider the biological evidence, the chemical evidence, and finally the astrological evidence. You should first of all reconsider the biological evidence for evolution. Now, one of the common ways that evolution is defended is through vestigial structures, or structures that are supposedly left over from our evolutionary past, such as the vomeronasal organ, the tailbone, goosebumps, and wisdom teeth. Many of these are considered to have reduced functionality or no functionality at all in the present human body. However, Dr. DeWitt, author of Unraveling the Origins Controversy and professor at Liberty University, said that many of these supposedly vestigial organs do actually have a purpose. Furthermore, Dr. Sanford from the Department of Horticultural Science at Cornell and his team of researchers created a computer program that was designed to track evolutionary mutations over a series of generations and see if the evolutionary genetic theory had any backing. What they discovered is that despite heavy natural selection, that the genome of the theoretical species decreased over time. Rather than increasing, it became a worse species and eventually died out. Not only are there considerable difficulties with this biological evidence, there's also issues with the chemical evidence as well. Another classical way of supporting evolution is carbon-14 dating. Carbon-14 to carbon-12 decay rate allows scientists to discover the age of fossils, and this is the basis for evolution. A recent innovation in science, called the accelerator mass spectrometer, allows scientists to look at the amount of carbon-14 in fossils more than ever. And carbon-14, which has a half-life of 5,730 years old, should be gone in fossils that are tens of millions of years old. However, Dr. Baumgartner, an adjunct professor of geophysics, states that there is still carbon-14 in many of these fossils which are supposed to be years old. This means that the evolutionary timescale could be way off. Not only is there problems with the timescale in evolution, there's problems with the chemical issue of chirality. In nature, many molecules are made in a left and right-hand fashion. While they're identical in their connectivity, you can't superimpose them. And in our DNA, it is all made out of the right-hand molecules, and all our proteins are made out of the left-hand molecules. Dr. McComb, organic chemist and discoverer of the 20 patented chemicals, says this is a huge problem because without the enzymes that synthesize these in our body, it would be almost impossible for all these right-handed molecules and all these left-handed molecules to line up. There's not just chemical and biological dilemmas with the evolutionary theories, there's also astrological problems as well. Dr. Humphrey, an associate professor at the Institution of Creative Research, states that the Milky Way galaxy is in the process of winding itself up, and that if the galaxy was more than a few million years old, it would already be a flat disk of stars. But as you can see, our galaxy is not a flat disk of stars. It has this characteristic Milky Way shape. Thus, once again, the evolutionary timescale has to be off by some million years, or billion years actually. Additionally, Dr. Morris, considered by many to be the father of creation science, defines evolution as from the Latin outrolling. But entropy, one of the commonly accepted laws in science, means inrolling from Latin. Now, evolutionary theory is outrolling and entropy is inrolling. So the theory is outrolling, but the law is inrolling. There is some discrepancy here, logically. Astronomic evidence complements the chemical and the biological evidence to form quite the dilemma for evolution. Now, I'm not saying that there's not considerable evidence for both sides, for evolution and against evolution. I'm just saying that you should reconsider the evidence. Take the time to investigate more than one viewpoint on such a critical issue. Take the time to reconsider the biological evidence, the chemical evidence, and finally the astrological evidence. And if you do, you'll perhaps understand your own moral basis, whether or not you agree with Nietzsche that it removes whether it causes relativity. You should reconsider evolution.